Good evening, Douglas County. This is Jeremiah, and it's another episode of the Easy Does It Transportation Podcast. I'm coming to you from Douglasville. It's Tuesday, July 15th, and this evening there's been a lot of things going on. The Atlanta Braves, I think, has some kind of game, some kind of All-Star, All-American game or something. There's been commissioner voting for a new commissioner in Douglas County. There's been information meetings for zoning variances, but most importantly, for me and for this podcast here locally for Douglas County, what's been pretty important for my focus and what I've been trying to share with you is an information meeting on this Southern Arc project. I've updated the coloring on this to allow for the green is Lee Road. That's the works that's already underway. Then this is the proposed $40 million project, and then this is the rest of the Southern Arc. Okay, so there was a community meeting on this project. Douglas County held a community meeting, and I just kind of want to report out to everybody on what I learned. And I've got on the screen here the Atlanta metropolitan area. These are all counties. This is Douglas County. I've got the interstate system. I've got the MARTA system. Um, what I'm trying to show here is that Douglas County and Douglasville are part of Atlanta. That's what I'm trying to show on this image here. That's what I'm trying to drive home. Any idea that we are not part of Atlanta is delusional. Atlanta really suffers from there's just some real tug of war, divisive type. It just seems like Cobb County and Fulton County are kind of at this tug of war, at this battle. I don't understand. I really don't understand it. And then DeKalb County, I don't know. They just seem to be good, man. They're okay. Fulton County is like, and then you got all these little cities that break off, and it's just really a divided, very, very divided place. And I hate that. I hate that so much. It should be a united place. If we could find unity, we could really open this place up, unlock this place with equity and mobility and equality. It's a great place, man. Atlanta's a fantastic place, but gosh, it's divided. And anyway, my point in bringing this map up is to show the counties that the Atlanta metropolitan area, as defined by the United States Census Bureau, within these green hash marks, touches. Okay, so the Atlanta metro area touches all of these counties. The Metropolitan Planning Organization, the MPO of Atlanta, which is known as the Atlanta Regional Commission, ARC, I don't think it incorporates Rome and Cartersville. I'm not sure which counties. This might be Cherokee County. That might be in the ARC, MPO. Yeah, this is Cobb County. But anyway, everything in green is basically Atlanta, okay? And Douglas County is in Atlanta. All right, I mean, it's its own political entity, it's its own city, it's its own county, and that's fine. But from a federal dollar standpoint and a transportation planning standpoint, um, we're part of Atlanta. There is no division. The federal dollars go through the state, and the state goes through the metropolitan planning organizations. And so Douglas County dollars that come from the federal government are kind of competed against with Cobb County and Cherokee County and Forsyth County and DeKalb County, so Clayton County. We're all like, who's going to get the federal dollars? What project goes to the top? And, so we are part of Atlanta, okay? Douglas County, with these federal dollars, we are certainly part of Atlanta, okay? I wanted to report out on what I kind of learned here a little bit. Again, the Southern Arc project right here, it's within the Atlanta Metropolitan Organization Transportation Plan Improvement Plan area, but this is a county road. It's a county road built by county dollars, maintained by county dollars. The roads that already exist, Central Church, Bomar, these are county roads, and they're maintained by the county. They're owned by the county. This is a county project all the way. What I mean by that is Douglas County residents are paying a sales tax to fund this, as well as whatever other revenues our county has to maintain parks, sidewalks, paving, teachers, police, fire department, whatever else. Our funding is paying for this road. Our funding, not state dollars, not federal dollars. They might be a match somewhere in there, I don't know, but this is really driven by the county. This is a county project, okay? So I wanted to just get on here and give an update, as it were, for the information session that came out. And I wanted to talk just somewhat generally about who we are, where we exist. We're Douglasville in Douglas County. Yes, we're independent, but we're also part of Atlanta. Let's make no mistake about it. And let's not be a contributing factor to Atlanta's plight, which is division. Let's just acknowledge the fact that we're part of Atlanta, and that, US 78 and I-20 are federal projects, federal assets that are maintained by federal dollars that come through Atlanta, the Atlanta Regional Commission Planning Transportation Improvement, the Transportation Improvement Plan system. Okay, so we are part of Atlanta. I just really want to drive that home, guys. We don't need to deny that, and we need to embrace that. We're part of Atlanta, and this is a county project. Now, this project will relieve state assets that are maintained through federal dollars, okay? This is state assets, federal dollars. This is a county asset, county dollars, okay? Now, those dollars are coming to us largely from the SPLOST. We passed a SPLOST, I think it was $20 million in November. Now, I don't know if the county is able to borrow against that, or if they actually have to collect those revenues and have them in the bank. I'm not sure how that works. Maybe one of you accounting people out there can dig into that stuff and report out to the community and help us to better understand our county's finances. But I just wanted to just, really just hit on the identity of Douglasville and Douglas County as part of Atlanta, okay? And also about our identity, this is what I learned. We had at the meeting Commissioner Raxton, Commissioner Jones. We had several members of the Douglas County Department of Transportation. And, really, Douglas County is well served by high quality leaders, okay? They, the fact that they were there, they were open, they were informative, they were warm, they were welcoming. Now, I didn't get a whole lot of interaction with the commissioners or the DOT professionals because I was promoting this message. But what interaction I had, they were very forthcoming, very professional. And what I learned was that, this southern arc has been in the works. It's been part of the plan for decades, decades. It's an old plan. But things change. There's new and more people in Douglas County. There's a lot of affluence in Douglas County. This plan was maybe okay 20 years ago, but probably not so much anymore. I learned that, but I really learned that our county is well served by a very professional Department of Transportation, very well experienced, trained, networked, connected, just really high quality transportation department professionals, as well as our county commissioners. Really people with conviction. What I know of Raxton and Jones, I've worked a little bit with them, or worked, very compassionate people of conviction, people of strong character, and really a servant's heart. We're well blessed in Douglas County with with this kind of bench of leadership, you might say. Also was the consulting firm, And they had with them, I think, like the lead design, the lead project designer, as well as some of their staff. I think it was probably like 6 or 7 of them. We also had somebody from GDOT was present with us. Again, everybody was very professional, very kind. GDOT was the Department of Transportation, Douglas County Department of Transportation, and the commissioners very, 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 all the pond staff were very, very professional. Very, very, Okay, so yeah, I learned that we have a fantastic county from that standpoint, but man, the diversity of people in terms of just professional backgrounds and where they live, how they, but their interest in their county, they're plugged in. I'm talking about the citizens that came out. I'm talking about the everyday people like me that came out. Hopefully, you who's listening, I mean, just everyday people came out, and that more than anything is what makes a great county. Right? When you have a citizenry that's engaged, that's informed, they're interested, they care, that's what makes a great county, right? So so the whole experience for me was really enriching. Really, really glad to be part of Douglas County and Douglasville. It's a fantastic community. And no, hey, listen, I want to clear the air on this. I'm not a politician. I'm a preacher. Okay. My position, my platform is I'm a professional civil engineer. And as a professional, I think any professional, what I mean by professional is somebody who has been gifted with the opportunity, the privilege of being trained, and then exercising that training in practice in some particular specific field. That's a professional. It's not necessarily someone with a college degree, though I do have one in civil engineering. It's just somebody who's well trained and exercised in their field. And as a professional, a professional should really desire to acknowledge in acknowledgement of their blessing and their privilege of having this training, they should desire to then disseminate and proliferate their professional knowledge and expertise to the broader community, right? So as a professional, all professionals should be educators. All professionals should desire to enrich their community, their society. They shouldn't use their profession as a lever to extract wealth from other people. They should use their profession to enrich other people and enrich their society, enrich their community, right? That's kind of like when you go to your doctor, I mean, they do the blood work, they put in the centrifuge, they give you the report, they're real technical, they know a lot of stuff. But ultimately, a good doctor is going to inform you on, your particular biological makeup and your conditions and the inputs, the foods, the smoking, the condition, where you're at, right? And they're going to try to enrich your knowledge so that you can take care of yourself and you can talk to your friends and your family and share that information, right? It's not just like come to me and I'll tell you how not to have a heart attack and then keep all the secrets to myself. I'll just say, hey, do this and not explain it, right? A professional should wish to proliferate or expand their knowledge base among many other people. So as a professional, that's my conviction, is to share my blessing that I've been blessed with other people. But as a civil engineer, my goal um, is to is you know is driven. My goal is really driven by the American Society of Civil Engineers Code of Ethics, which states that we shall hold paramount the health, safety, and welfare of the public. And it's that last piece, the welfare piece, that I really like to emphasize. The economics of a project. A lot of engineers may be risk averse and they may just throw more money on things, and economy suffers. They're maximizing the safety, right, and the health component, but they may be the economy part is suffering. And an engineer is somebody who will do for $2 what somebody else will do for 5. There's an economic component. They'll say yes, it will work. I know it will work. The physics, not the codes, but I have confidence. I'll tell you this will work. Let's do this, and it's cheaper than doing that. Okay, it'll work. Engineers solve problems, practical problems to make things work, and the economics should be central in that, because especially when you're talking about building roads, that directly impacts land value, land accessibility, and it's a spend, right? It's a capital outlay. It's an ongoing maintenance. We got to sweep the streets. We got to clean the gutter, clean the culverts, the drainage. We got to pave the roads, stripe the roads, time the signals. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on when we do these investments, and we really, as civil engineers, we're investing in our community these assets, and we really need to be mindful of the economics. Okay, so I really like to hone in on those three components of the American Society of Civil Engineers Code of Ethics: health, safety, welfare. I really like to key in on that third piece, the welfare component. Okay, which we mix up welfare to be like, okay, well, people who live like my workmate, his mother and he lived. His mother was born in Perry Homes. He was born in Perry Homes. He did his whole life riding MARTA. That's welfare, right? He lives in the government housing. He rides the government bus, and he eats the government food on food stamps, right? Their whole sustenance is their award of the state, and that's welfare. No, that's just that's part of welfare. Welfare means the general well-being of our society, and yeah, that means people who are poor have sustenance, right? They have the ability to grow and enhance themselves. I'm very proud to say my friend doesn't live in Perry Homes, obviously, but he doesn't live in. I mean, he's a very independent, and he's moved on. I mean, the program's been successful. He owns his own home. He's got a beautiful family. He's economically strong. His children are economically strong. So Atlanta has produced numerous stories like that. But anyway, welfare isn't just about taking care of poor people. Welfare means the well-being of our society. And as a civil engineer, that is really central in our work. And that's what's driving me as a professional, is to share what I know and share my blessing of having been blessed. As a civil engineer, it is to promote the general welfare. And that's the exact language of the preamble of the United States Constitution. That's why this union was formed, to promote the general welfare, to form a more perfect union. That's the idea, is that we're on a journey to provide a better way of living than our previous generations and our ancestors gave us. We take what we've been given and we add to it. So again, that's a little bit of philosophical stuff. I'm not a politician. I'm a preacher. Our ancestors gave us this Southern Art program, and we're moving on. I'm recommending that we move on and go to this program and this program. Okay, that's what that's what I want to talk a little bit about, what I learned about the information session tonight. The county has $20 million, I think, from the SPLOST, okay? And now again, this project is entirely county fund. This is a county project. There may be some federal match or state, I'm not sure, but this is this is county money, okay? This is county money. Okay, this is not county money. This is not county money, but we can use county money to promote these projects, to get these projects underway, to help get these projects going. So we have like $20 million right now. That's from the SPLOST. Okay, we passed the SPLOST in November, gave us $20 million. I think it's 20 million. It may be more. Somebody may correct me and put it in the comments. Okay, so with that money, that's county money. All right. With that money, I've seen a couple of projects underway. All right, I've seen up here on Presley Mill, Slater Mill rather, some bridge work that needed to be done. I think, I reported some damage up here, and that's getting addressed. I think the bridge is getting put in, or new culvert or something. This is Slater Mill. There's a stop sign every three-way out here, and that's traffic mitigation, or discouraging through traffic through here. Again, driving it down to Pope and Bomar, or, anyway. That's one project. Another project that I think that SPLOST money that we approved in November, another project I think is right here, okay? And let me go ahead and turn on the Southern Arc, and let me turn on an aerial map. And Let me turn off the Atlanta region. Yes, we're still in the Atlanta region. Okay, well, I'll leave that on. Right here we have a U-turn. This is Fairburn Road. Okay, so this is Interstate 20, Fairburn Road. Okay, this is the Southern Arc. This is Lee Road. Just south of Lee Road and the proposed Bomar extension to 20 I-20 is the BP, the new car wash. Right here is Lake Monroe. Okay, Lake Monroe. We've been able to take a left-hand turn out of Lake Monroe. Okay, that is no longer. This aerial is not up to date. There is now raised concrete medians right here to prevent left-hand turns on Lake Monroe. This, I think, was provided for us through the SPLOST that we approved in November, probably $20 million. And this didn't cost $20 million, nowhere close. But this left-hand turn is prohibited. Okay, I want to spend a little time talking about left-hand turns. With our county money, we can address some of these left-hand turn issues. Left-hand turns are generally, what I'm finding, are discouraged in the state of Georgia, and that reduces the demand for traffic signals, which are expensive to maintain. It reduces a deadly conflict point where, the T-bone, right? Left-hand turns increase congestion. Well, they can increase congestion if they're not signalized and you don't provide adequate turning lanes. But they reduce the need for traffic signals, which are expensive, and they eliminate, a deadly conflict point, the T-bone. Okay, but here's the thing, the left-hand turn gets you where you want to be, right? And so now with the raised median, what we have to do is we have to go south on Fairburn and then do a U-turn all the way down here. Now we're getting back in this line right here, and then we're fighting our way to get back to where we want to be. Okay, so we are actually generating, by eliminating this left-hand turn, we're actually generating southbound traffic and northbound traffic. Okay, we've eliminated the left-hand turn and we've generated some other traffic. I would recommend a traffic signal right here to allow for the left-hand turn off of Fairburn on the Lake Monroe and to allow Lake Monroe to discharge to Fairburn North. Okay, that's what I would do. And it looks like there may be some land development opportunities back here, so that traffic signal could also potentially feed that. This road might also be able to, which that's a cutoff road. I'm not sure that we'd want to use it. Anyway, so I would recommend a traffic signal. Left-hand turns are what really hinder Bill Arp and Chapel Hill. When you look at all these businesses, this is Bill Arp. All these businesses, excuse me, that's Chapel Hill. All these businesses along Chapel Hill generating traffic, and all these businesses along Bill Arp, and now there's, even more, it seems. Yeah, these are generating a lot of traffic, but look, if I want to turn left into McDonald's, I can't do it, right? I cannot turn left into McDonald's. There's not a turn lane here. If I want to turn left up here to go to Little Caesars, I can't do it. So I'm doing some weird stuff, I'm kind of like I'm turning left through here and I'm cutting through this parking lot, which is really kind of janky. Or I'm going up and turning around, or I don't know. It just is, it makes this very inaccessible. What I would recommend is to eliminate, with this $20 million, I would say let's eliminate the raised median. Let's provide a turning lane, and the turning lane goes both directions. You can turn left from either lane. And then you put traffic signals where needed to prevent, conflicting left-hand turns or conflicting occupancy of the left-hand turn lane. And that provides a lot of mobility. So you get off the interstate, you want to go to Dunkin' Donuts, fine, you can get in there, and then you can turn around and you can get back out. You want to come out of Dunkin' Donuts and you want to go south, you can do that, right? You don't have to come out here, jump into this thing, and then go through the signal and go south. So I would say, with our $20 million, with our county money, we can probably improve the mobility down Bill Arp and down Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill certainly needs to be 4-lane, a 5-lane with a turning lane the whole way. I mean, it does. And interestingly pointed out to me recently was that there is a bridge here. This is a 4-lane. This is to accommodate 5 lanes of traffic on this bridge, but it was never developed. At one point, this should have been 4 lanes already. It was a plan to make it 4 lanes. But anyway, left-hand turn elimination is something that Georgia is very fond of, and I think there's a lot of good reasons for that. I mean, Georgia's got a lot of traffic. I'm not totally disagreeing with the philosophy on a macro traffic management scale, but here locally, I think there's certainly some use for signalized intersections, especially like right here at Lake Monroe, where you need to be able to turn left. But now on the Fairburn corridor, one thing that we could use our money for is to try to promote the southern end to being 4 lanes. Okay, it's not. It's 2 lanes. That needs to be 4-laned. But along the Fairburn corridor, there is this. So with the limited left-hand turns and the very few traffic signals, there tends to be this free-flowing essence to the road. When you get on Fairburn, like to say if you get on Fairburn from the interstate and you go all the way down to Fulton County, right? You practically cruise the whole way. If you hit the traffic signals right, you don't ever stop. You cruise mostly the whole way, and that's fine until traffic builds, right? And then what happens is as you cruise, you spread out, and that spreading out consumes capacity. And as traffic builds, as more cars get on the roadway and they spread out, there's less room to spread. They necessarily get closer together. And what do they do when they get closer together? More cautious, and they slow down, and the throughput capacity is reduced. Okay, so what a traffic signal, well, and then they flow through all the traffic signals, until you get down here at an important intersection. When I say important, I mean like a substantially utilized intersection, and I can't find it right now, but it's Anawake Road. Okay, you come down so far to Anawake Road, and it's like, yeah, we got to stop at Anawake Road because Anawake Road produces a lot of traffic. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. This is Anawake. So Anawake Road produces a lot of traffic, so we have to signalize this southbound in the mornings to stop the southbound flow to discharge Anawake, and in the evenings we have to signalize this intersection to stop the southbound movements and allow the northbound to turn left on Anawake and go home. So we provide these signals to allow this road to interact with this road. But if we put signals all along Fairburn Road, then what they can do is they can platoon, that's the word, platoon the traffic. So instead of like having this big broad flowing road, which is great when there's no real traffic demand, when you have a lot of traffic demand and they slow down and they're flowing through the stop signals until they get to Anawake, a road like Anawake. And then it takes like 3 cycles to get through there, right? It takes like 3 cycles to get through the signal. That's a dysfunctional traffic management. Okay, if it takes more than 1 cycle to get through this, I mean, maybe 2, okay, but golly, 3 or more, it's like this is not working. You platoon the traffic throughout the whole corridor, right? So if we utilize traffic signals from 20 all the way down to Fulton County, we would be able to platoon and keep those cars closer together so they don't spread out and slow down and consume roadway capacity. They move as a platoon together at a higher rate of speed together, and that gives you a higher throughput yield. Okay, so traffic signals on Fairburn Road I think are a good thing, but in particular this left-hand turn elimination on Lake Monroe, listen, you're going to feel that. Okay, you're really going to feel that when school starts here in a couple of weeks. Okay, whenever folks can't turn left here, it's going to drive traffic up Lake Monroe onto Pope and out Bomar. Okay, Bomar, and it's going to have this intersection backed up, and it's going to have people screaming to fix it. So right here, a couple weeks before school starts, we get this big transportation meeting. It says, hey, we got plans to fix this and improve this and make roundabouts, and that pain point over there, we got the fix to make the pain go away. A couple weeks later, school gets here. We can't get out of our driveways. We can't get out of Carmel Chase. We can't get out of our neighborhoods. Brookmont, we're frustrated. We're frustrated. We're saying, man, I'm glad Douglas County is going to fix this problem. Okay, I think we need to pull that left-hand turn elimination up, and we need to install a signal. We need to make Bill Arp and Chapel Hill fluid. They need to flow. We need mobility there. We really need to find a solution for I-20 to create the east-west mobility that we need to make Chapel Hill and Bill Arp flow. Again, what we're being sold is just this section right here. Just this section right here. Okay. So, okay, I talked about left-hand turns. I talked about signalized intersections versus limiting left-hand turns, that philosophy. I hope some of that is able to, sink it, like that you're able to digest that. I don't think you're stupid. I just don't think you're a trained civil engineer, transportation engineer. And I'm just trying to share ideas and concepts to help us all begin to collectively think and behave in a more informed capacity. So, $20 million. I think that's the number. Douglas County has a budget. That budget is to pave roads, build sidewalks, clean gutters, drainage culverts, improve parks, pay the police, pay the teachers. Maybe I'm wrong about some of that stuff. I'm not entirely sure. I would love for somebody at the Bomar community to step up and teach us how our budget and finances work. But it's our county resources is my point. We passed a SPLOST, a sales tax, to fund this thing, and we can pave roads. And I'll say, and I'll maybe need to do another video. We maybe need to figure out, hey, what roads need to be paved? I'll tell you, Bomar needs to be paved. Bomar Road needs to be paved, and ideally it should have sidewalks on it, and it should remain a 2-lane road. It does not need this connection. The cost of this connection and this roundabout can certainly put, sidewalks up Pope Road. It can certainly pave Bomar Road, right? There's no right-of-way acquisition. There's no, installing brand new 4-lane pavements and all that concrete. Let's build sidewalks. Let's pave our roads. Let's maintain and take care of what we have. Douglas County is really well developed. This is the Bomar community. It's pretty well developed. All these, it's a well-developed community. We need to maintain it. That SPLOST should go towards maintenance, not adding new assets that equal maintenance obligations. Okay, so I've rambled on and on. If you're still with me, I appreciate it. It's this is actually the second time I recorded this because the first time I accidentally had the mute on. So I'm not a professional YouTuber. I really appreciate your time with me. What I also learned was that, typically what I already know is that, consulting engineering services are typically 10% of the project cost. So if this is a $40 million project, it's likely that the engineering firm that was with us this evening and that'll be designing this, they probably got about a $4 million contract. Okay, that's probably what they've got to design this. Again, if you're just paving roads, you really don't need that. If you're building sidewalks, you really don't need a lot of design work. There's standard plans. You turn the people loose. There's plenty of local people here that can Shackelford and Sons, man. They can lay concrete down. They're great. We can build sidewalks here locally, and you don't need a lot of engineering for any of that. It's just paving, striping. We can stripe all this, paint, pave it, stripe it, maintain it, build some sidewalks. Be beautiful. Be a great thing to do. $4 million is the design. Probably close. I asked a couple people. Nobody knew the number, but it's probably close to $4 million. The county has authorized. This is the county has authorized that spend. Okay, the county has authorized the consulting services, that contract, that whatever it is, $3, $4, $5 million contract, something. That's been authorized. Okay, the county has to, this is what else I learned, the county has to authorize each right-of-way acquisition. That's a county function. Okay, they've not done any of that, what I'm told. What I'm told is that they've not got any construction contracts authorized. The county has not approved any construction. They've not approved any right-of-way acquisition. So a lot of this stuff is very preliminary, okay? All we've really done is put in a, you know, we've eliminated a left-hand turn. We've built the plan to relieve this congestion. But guys, we got 20 million bucks, and that's a lot of money, or whatever the number is, to improve and maintain our community. That money can be used, I think, this is what I learned, it should be able to be used to help uh, um, garner state federal monies from the Atlanta Metro for US 78 like Cobb County has done. Cobb County, I mean, it's a 5-lane road through here, okay? We need to make ours a 4-lane, 5-lane in various places. I think you can put a great roundabout right here at Fairburn and 78. I think you can do a great roundabout. I think you could probably do some one-way streets perhaps, but I think you could do a roundabout there. Maybe have another roundabout at Rose Avenue. I think we can take this money and invest it in 78, and that would really enhance the downtown Douglasville community. These transportation dollars really add to our community, but bad infrastructure can diminish a community. We can leverage federal dollars, state dollars maybe, to expand this corridor that goes on and on and on to convey through Douglasville and Douglas County and add value to Douglasville, Douglas County. Likewise with 20. So I would recommend that we use this money to pave a lot of roads, to expand 78, and to begin the process of garnering money for I-20. And like I said, our county is stacked. We've got a great bench of high quality public servants, public officials, transportation officers, just really high quality people. But right now, all that's been done is we've authorized, the consulting firm to begin designing this. Okay, there's been no right-of-way acquisition. There's been no construction. So guys, this is not a done deal. This is not a done deal. Also, green here, Lee Road, that's what's been done. Okay, this is what's being pitched at us today, is this all the way to Pope Road, and then the rest of it, and I've showed this in a previous video, is out here. All right, guys, this has been way too long. If you've watched 38 minutes, I thank you so much. Please take the survey. Please subscribe to the channel. Please, when you take the survey, give me your email address so that we can continue to communicate with you. Thank you so much, Douglas County, for staying involved and really paying attention to this. This is a crucial project in the fabric of Douglasville. This is I don't think there's anything more impactful. There's not a neighborhood or apartment development, nothing that is impactful as this roadway. The roads are the foundation of the framework of our community. And so this is really important that we get this right. We've got a lot of money now, thanks to our SPLOST. Let's use it to beautify, strengthen, maintain. Bomar needs paved. Pope needs paved. We need some sidewalks. Okay, I'm going to let you guys go. But remember this, communities don't build themselves. People build communities, and it's up to you and me to build our community. Thanks for watching.